Chapter 11. Turn back suddenly, and discover that your destined person is there, by the waning lantern lights. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the eyes of divination masters, determining the future is like seeing the outside world through a foggy window, full of different kinds of mysteries. But according to a very famous divination master, depending on different choices that people make, different futures will be created. But no matter which choice it was, it couldn't be by chance. Because in this world, there is no such thing as chance. There was only the inevitable. Even if a meeting between two people seems to be a coincidence, it is actually an inevitable matter. One by one, the things that inevitably happen push the wheel of history forward, developing into all kinds of inevitable futures. The main point of all that has been said is to simply convey one message, that is, divination masters' divinations are never wrong. Even if there is a mistake, that is only because the divination master's divination had revealed an inevitable future from a parallel world. Meanwhile, you are merely following another inevitable development into another future. Therefore, it's not the divination master who is wrong but rather, the world. The above was what a street divination master who had divined countless times yet never divined correctly a single time used to defend himself. You've probably guessed it. That's right, this divination master is 9 provinces, 1, group's great copper trigram's immortal master. Although he wasn't a very reliable divinator, but when viewed from another angle, his words still contained some truth. Song Shuheng had never thought about going up to meet the black-haired and long-legged beauty. After all, the world was wide, how can there be so many coincidences? Yet he never imagined that after he strolled one circle, he would meet that lady again. He was just leaving the shop named Glorious Beef, carrying a large bag of specialties from Foodie Paradise in his hands that he prepared to gift to his roommates. When he took his first step out of the door, he saw the black-haired lady dragging the large suitcase in his direction. This time Song Shuheng truly experienced the power of long legs walks very fast first hand. Despite the fact that she was still very far away when he spotted her, in a blink of an eye, the black-haired lady had already strode in front of him with a few steps. Shuheng slightly tilted his body to open a path, making it convenient for her to pass while dragging the large suitcase. Thank you. The black-haired beauty's smile was gentle and bashful. She then entered the small shop behind him. Song Shuheng nodded faintly. It was about time for him to start making his way back to the dormitory. When he had just taken 2 or 3 steps forward, the black-haired beauty had already agilely bought the items she wanted, and simultaneously asked the shopkeeper about a matter. Song Shuheng inadvertently intruded upon their conversation, and unintentionally heard her question. When Song Shuheng heard the question the lady asked, it made the leg that he had raised freeze in mid-air. Boss, may I ask if you've heard of a temple named Ghost Lamp Temple, in the vicinity of Luo Xin Street? The shopkeeper pondered for a moment before he shook his head and said, Ghost Lamp Temple. I've never heard of it. However, I've only moved in 2 years ago so I'm not very familiar with many places in the vicinity. Young lady, you could try going over to one of those old shops to ask around. The time they've spent in Luo Xin Street is much longer and they should know more. The shopkeeper was obviously a good person, and explained with great passion. It could also be that in this generation full of scammers, the black-haired lady possessed a halo that had a plus 100 increase in favorable impressions attribute. Ghost Lamp Temple, Luo Xin Street. Naturally, Shuheng thought of the lady named Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather in the group. Did I hear wrongly? Thinking that way, Song Shuheng brought out the large cell phone from his pockets, and swiped his finger to unlock the screen. After that, he proficiently logged into the chatting software, and opened the 9 provinces, 1, group. After he had left, there were indeed more chat records from the group. First was a message left by Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather more than 2 hours ago. She said that she wasn't able to acquire information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple, but she had already taken a taxi towards Luo Xin Street. She would then directly ask the locals there. Subsequently, 20 minutes ago, Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather left another message: I've already arrived at Luo Xin Street without a hitch. It's very crowded and lively here, completely different from what I imagined. This is a gourmet food street, and I saw many delicious looking things here. It could be seen that she was in a good mood. Firstly, she arrived smoothly at Luo Xin Street. Secondly, there was a lot of good food here. If she departed from Jiangnan Region's airport, that would be an estimated 2-hour car ride. After that was Luo Xin Street with a lot of good food. Song Shuheng massaged his face. From Jiangnan Airport, even if she took a racing car, it wouldn't be possible to reach J City in 2 hours, would it? Based on the duration of the taxi ride and Soft Feather's description of her destination, there was about 80 to 90% chance she went to the wrong place. She basically never even arrived at J City's Luo Xin Street, and instead had made her way to the foodie paradise close to Jiangnan University. But if it truly wasn't a coincidence, then that super long-legged black-haired beauty, could she be Soft Feather? Once he thought about how such a modern and fashionable beauty could be a Xianxia Chinibyu, Song Shuheng felt an inexplicable feeling of pain in his heart. However, it still wasn't enough to confirm that black-haired beauty was Soft Feather just based on these. Because, by including the possibility that some special activities going on at the Ghost Lamp Temple in the Luo Xin Street for J City causing many people to rush there, then there would definitely be some of them who went to the wrong place just like the group's Soft Feather. Such a probability was very small, but that didn't mean it was impossible. Song Shuheng's finger continued to swipe on the cell phone's display, however there wasn't any new information from the chat group. Even North River's loose practitioner wasn't online, perhaps he went to help look for Ghost Lamp Temple. Shuheng was continue touching the display when suddenly, Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather sent a voice message. Song Shuheng subconsciously opened it up. Soft Feather exhaustedly dragged her suitcase out of the store with disappointment. This was already her 12th store. The suggestion by the shopkeeper earlier was great, but she had already asked both old and new shops, yet there wasn't a single one who knew of the Ghost Lamp Temple. Sighing, she drew out her cell phone, and nimbly tapped on her phone, opened the chatting software, and opened the 9 Provinces, 1, group chat window. There was no news from Senior North River's loose practitioner, who she pinned her hopes on. Because it was not convenient to type with one hand, she made use of the voice message function. With a gentle voice she said, Senior North River, have you received an information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple? I have gone around asking many shops in Luo Xin Street, yet there wasn't a single person who possesses any information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. Please reply once you hear this. Releasing her thumb, the voice message was sent. She kept her phone. Before receiving news from North River's loose practitioner, she must continue asking around Luo Xin Street's shops regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. She mustn't give up. At the shop's entrance, Soft Feather saw that the youngster who gave way to her was still standing by the side of the road, tapping and swiping on his phone. It was unclear what he was doing. Soft Feather did not mind, and continued walking. Right at this time, the youngster's cell phone sent out a voice that was incomparably familiar to Soft Feather. Senior North River, have you received an information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple? I have gone around asking many shops in Luo Xin Street, yet there wasn't a single person who possesses any information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. Please reply once you hear this. Isn't this my voice? Furthermore, it's the voice message that I had just sent. Soft Feather first blankly stared, then felt an indescribable happiness bubbling in her heart. This man who looked like a youngster in front of her was actually a senior from 9 Provinces, 1, group. The lost and dejected Soft Feather immediately felt like someone who caught a rope while being swept by the currents. With 3 steps, she stepped over to the side of the senior, who looked like a youngster. Song Shuheng had just tapped on the voice message sent by Soft Feather. Her gentle voice was truly pleasant to the ear. Suddenly, he felt someone approaching him from behind. What followed was a fragrant wind entering his nose. There was a faint scent of flowers, yet it was also similar to the body fragrance of ladies. Xu Heng turned around, and saw the long legged black-haired lady standing behind him with a happy face, and her gaze was fixed onto his cell phone. 9 provinces, 1 group. The black-haired lady's gentle voice was full of happiness as if she was meeting an old friend in a foreign place. At that moment, Song Shuheng didn't have the slightest idea of what kind of expression he should have facing this lady. There was no longer a need for her to introduce herself. If Song Shuheng still couldn't guess her identity, he should buy a block of tofu and kill himself with it. TL. This is a Chinese joke, because it's not possible to kill yourself with tofu because of how soft tofu is. Spiritual Butterfly Island Soft Feather. Song Shuheng felt that his voice was very unnatural, and full of awkwardness. That's me. May I ask for Senior's Dao name? Soft Feather finally calmed down, and began carefully sizing up this senior. According to her memory, other than Su Clan's Ah Shirlu who went through tribulation yesterday, all other fellow Taoists from 9 provinces, 1 group were her seniors. This senior in front of me has the appearance of 18 or 19 years old, but that definitely can't be his true age, right? His height is approximately 1.75 m, with a kind face, and looks really nice to chat with. A kind face. To be frank, that is basically having a face with looks that make someone seem like a good person, and it's also the type that is easily thrown into the friend zone. Moreover, she couldn't sense this senior's stage of cultivation. It seems like this senior has completely restrained his aura. When he stands in front of me, it's like he has completely blended into the world of ordinary people. This is already the stage of returning back to the natural state like father, right? This was how Soft Feather thought. Senior. Being addressed like this made Song Shuheng's liver hurt a little. Chapter 12. Senior Song, your phone is also out of battery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This black-haired lady looks approximately in her early 20s, but my 18th birthday just passed not too long ago, alright. Could it be that I look that old? Causing her to assume I'm a mature uncle. Furthermore. Dao name. He immediately thought of the group's Chuyuni profile pages. Something like Yellow Mountain's True Monarch, North River's Loose Practitioner, XX Cave Master, XX Palace Master and so on. He suddenly felt the pain in his liver intensify. Cough cough, you may call me Song Shuheng. Also. Let's not mention the Dao name for now. Song Shuheng replied, he doesn't want others to think he has Chinibu. Ah. Sorry senior. I forgot about that. Soft Feather apologetically said. As a cultivator, it's common sense to never mention Dao names in public. She was just that happy and excited that she forgot. Cough, stop calling me senior. Song Shuheng coughed twice. He felt like the winter cough that he had slowly recovered from previously was suddenly showing signs of becoming more severe. Ah. Soft Feather gasped softly, and her heart sank. This senior seems to be the type that is hard to get along with. That's to be expected. After all, it isn't possible that everyone in the group is as friendly as Senior North River. Plus, although this senior was obviously in Luo Xin Street, he had not spoken up in the chat. Was it possible that he was a cold and indifferent person and had no intentions of offering help? As she thought of this, she could not help but feel disappointed. Just as Soft Feather was letting her thoughts run wild, Song Shuheng added, calling me Song Shuheng directly is fine. Soft Feather momentarily blanked. That shouldn't be the way, right? Please just call me Song Shuheng. If you really don't want to call me by my full name, then Shuheng, Xiaoheng, Xiaosong are also fine as well, it's up to you. Song Shuheng resolutely replied. If Soft Feather continued to call him senior every time she spoke, then he would feel very ashamed. After all, this was the real world. Song Shu. Senior. Halfway through calling his name, Soft Feather felt rather awkward and still added the word, senior. But her heart had relaxed completely in this moment, and a happy smile was revealed on her face. It seemed like this senior was a good person, and not cold and indifferent. If it was like this, then perhaps senior would help her. Song Shuhang raised his hand and rubbed his face vigorously. He had been completely defeated. Fine, call me whatever you want. Senior Song, did you come here to help me? Soft Feather joyfully replied. Let's talk while we walk. Song Shuhang lifted the large bag he was holding. The two of them plus that huge suitcase were blocking the way, so it would be better if they found a quiet place to talk. Soft Feather immediately quietly caught up to Shuhang. I saw the chat logs in the group. The place you want to go is the Luo Xin Street of J City, isn't it? Song Shuhang said. J City's Luo Xin Street. Please wait, senior, could it be? Soft Feather was naturally very smart. From Song Shuhang's tone and attitude, she could guess the actual situation. With a teary, disappointed face, she said, could it be that this is not Luo Xin Street? This is indeed Luo Xin Street, however, this is Jiangnan City's Luo Xin Street, not the one in J City. Song Shuhang sighed and replied. Soft Feather's small face instantly turned beet red. This time, she truly was embarrassed. After a long while, she asked in a small voice, then, Senior Song, do you know how to get to J City's Luo Xin Street? I have not been there before, but are you able to navigate the way? Song Shuhang smiled warmly. Soft Feather knocked on her own head a few times before she once again took up her phone and swiped a few times. However, after swiping just twice, the phone suddenly rang with the soothing sound of music before the screen went dark. Soft Feather lifted her head and looked toward Song Shuhang. Those were a pair of large, watery eyes. Senior Song, my phone ran out of battery. Song Shuhang felt as though his liver ached with a vague pain. This black-haired beauty was a natural klutz. But he still tossed his phone over. Then use mine. Thank you, senior. Soft Feather happily received Shuhang's phone, and swiped on it. Suddenly, the phone also emitted a short and loud sonorous music, and the phone's display turned dark. Soft Feather lifted her head another time as she looked at Song Shuhang. Those watery eyes had already misted over. Senior Song, your phone is also out of battery. Fuck. Song Shuhang only just recalled that when he left the house, his phone was only at 6% battery. After he had left the dormitory for close to 3 hours and surfed the net just now, it just so happened that at this moment, the phone went flat. Awkwardly taking back his phone, Shuhang asked, Soft Feather, are you in a hurry to get to Ghost Lamp Temple? Although I'm not in a hurry, the faster the better, problems might occur the more things are delayed. Soft Feather's voice was as gentle as before. If she takes too long, her father would return from Senior Mad Saber 3 Waves' house, and he will catch her and bring her home. Indeed, this was also the reason why she had thrown off Mad Saber 3 Waves in the group chat earlier. If her daddy came home, then she couldn't sneak out anymore. Then, how about you go to the dormitory with me? I'll use my computer to check the route for you while you take that chance to charge your phone. However, my dormitory is a little more than 20 minutes away, is that fine? Song Shuhang suggested. Song Shuhang is a man who is as he looks, he has a good natured-looking face, and thus is a good old man in his bones. So no matter what, he could never do something like tossing Soft Feather aside. The truth was, other than gays, there would be very few men who could mercilessly abandon such a beauty. Dormitory. Is that where Senior is living in seclusion? Soft Feather's eyes glowed as she said, a 20-minute journey is no problem at all. Then, shall we? Song Shuhang asked. Soft Feather vigorously nodded, and pulled her large suitcase in pursuit of Shuhang's back. A truly marvelous target for kidnapping. Song Shuhangs was somewhat worried in his heart since he kept feeling that 2 sticks of lollipops would be enough to abduct this girl. There's a proverb that says, when men and women pair up together, all labor isn't tiring. According to reason, when men and women do something together, they will have multiple times the energy. However, after Song Shuhang walked for 5 minutes with Soft Feather, he felt short of breath, and much more tired. He bitterly smiled as he looked at Soft Feather beside him. The words spoken by the handsome dude among the 3 at the public square surfaced in his mind. That beauty's legs are really long, and she walked very quickly. When she took 1 step, I had to take several to keep up. I was even jogging behind her, yet I still couldn't catch up. Long legs truly have a large advantage. Her single step was equivalent to 2 steps from him. Soft Feather had already tried her best to lower her pace, yet Shuhang still needed to jog. How can this not be tiring? Senior, you seem to be panting. Soft Feather looked towards Shuhang in confusion. This cannot be right. We've only been walking for 5 minutes, how could this make a senior with great achievements in cultivation gasp for breath? Hugh, let's walk slowly, there's no hurry. Song Shuhang adjusted his breathing pattern. Oh. Soft Feather pretended to understand yet didn't seem to understand as she nodded. She felt that this senior was in a condition that didn't seem right, as if his physical capabilities were very low. But she was an intelligent lady, and respected others' privacy. Since senior didn't say, then she definitely wouldn't be nosy, so as to not provoke hostility. Therefore she took the initiative to match his pace. The strides of her long legs shrunk, until she maintained the same as Song Shuhang's strides. Song Shuhang finally felt a lot more relaxed. The 2 of them had already left Luo Xian Street, and walked further and further away. What was a great coincidence was that behind them, the 3 brothers who were grading various kinds of beautiful legs were carrying all kinds of large and small bags as they left Luo Xian Street. 100. It's 100 again. Fatty Ah Su excitedly pointed toward Soft Feather's back figure. The handsome man immediately perked up. Where? This time, I must catch up to her. You've no hope. Short-haired guy lazily replied, there's already a man by her side. The handsome man looked at Song Shuhang who was at the side of Soft Feather and instantly lost hope. She's already taken, god damn it. Although the flower already has an owner, the hoe is merciless. As long as the hoe is wielded properly, there's no wall that can't be dug till it falls. Proceed bravely. Ah Su chuckled and said. I don't have any interest in entering other people's walls. At this point, the handsome man unexpectedly displayed his bottom line. But suddenly, the handsome man fixed his eyes onto Song Shuhang's back. Hey, have you guys noticed that guy seems a little familiar? Yep, it's normal that you find him familiar. Because when we were discussing the girl who scored 100 points at the plaza earlier, he was sitting right beside us. Short-haired guy continued to speak lazily. Fatty Ah Su. Handsome man. He was sitting right beside us, he was sitting right beside us. This sentence reverberated endlessly in the handsome man's ears. The handsome man resolutely knelt onto the ground. Is this the fabled god of strategies from the legends? Chapter 13. If you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 13. If a school dormitory is a wondrous place, the ladies' dormitory is forbidden ground for the males. Any male who dare take a single step into that minefield all receive the death penalty. But to the ladies, the male dormitory is like their vegetable garden at home. They can enter or leave as and when they want to. Therefore, Song Shuhang did not encounter any obstacles bringing a girl into his dormitory. Furthermore, since it was Sunday, a majority of the students living in the dormitories went out to have fun, or stayed in the dormitory to play games. When Song Shuhang brought Soft Feather back, it didn't attract much attention. Shuheng's dorm room was on the second story, and there was an elevator in the dormitory. However, most of the people living in the dormitory all take the elevator. Since it's only one floor, taking the stairs to his room is much faster than taking the elevator. Shall I help you bring up your suitcase? Song Shuheng looked at the huge suitcase pulled by Soft Feather. As a man, offering to carry a lady's suitcase and bags are things that mustn't be declined. Sorry to trouble Senior then. Soft Feather bashfully smiled, and pushed the huge suitcase to Song Shuheng. During the journey, Song Shuheng saw Soft Feather drag that huge suitcase the whole time. When they passed by areas where there were uneven roads, she would even carry it past those roads like it was a very simple task. Therefore, he assumed that this huge suitcase wasn't filled, and should be pretty light. When he gripped the suitcase, and tried to pull it upwards, his face immediately flushed. He only managed to lift the suitcase a small bit after amassing his strength. What the fuck, this box is at least 50.60 kilograms, and nearly the weight of an adult male. He widened his eyes and stared at Soft Feather, and stared at her soft and slender hands. This girl, is she secretly a tomboy? For the whole journey, she pulled along this thing that is about 120.130 gene like she was flying. Wasn't it exhausting? TL. 1 gene is 0.5 kilograms, no idea why author bothered to use it since kilograms is above. And I naively thought that she was a good target for kidnapping. Simply with this strength of hers, anybody who wants to kidnap her had better prepare a coffin. Senior. Soft Feather looked towards the senior, puzzled. Cough. Let us take the elevator. Song Shuheng quickly decided and said. With his strength, there's no problem for him to carry this box up, but it would be very tiring. Oh. Soft Feather pretended to understand but didn't seem to understand as she nodded. This has been mentioned before, she is a good lady, and won't ask superfluous questions. Furthermore, as a guest, she will not interfere with the host's decisions, for the guest should always follow the host's intentions. The elevator slowly rose. At a time like that there was basically nobody using the elevator, so there was no need to wait. There wasn't a single soul in the dormitory room. His roommates usually return around 3-4 p.m., there were times they even came back at night. The dormitory room wasn't considered large, being made for only 4 people to live in. Although the place was small, it had everything necessary. There was an attached bathroom, a balcony, a washboard and a small kitchen. Take a seat, would you like something to drink? Song Shuheng turned on the computer, and let Soft Feather sit down. Soft Feather obediently sat down, and replied, Jade Spirit Vein Tea. Song Shuheng was confused. Jade Spirit Vein Tea. What's that? A new beverage. Why haven't I heard of it before? He blanked out for a moment, then quickly remembered this long-legged beauty's identity. Don't just see her as a youthful and pretty girl, she's a patient deeply afflicted with chunibu. This soda called Jade Spirit Vein Tea, should be something created by the minds of those chunibu patients in the chat group. Song Shuheng only felt his liver start to faintly hurt again. I don't have those kind of things here temporarily, but I have orange juice, clean water, Coke and milk. Pick one. Song Shuheng straightforwardly gave her a multiple-choice question. He was afraid that Soft Feather might ask him for frightening things like enriching dragon blood tea, phoenix liquid, and so on. Soft Feather was stunned. Senior's place doesn't even have Jade Spirit Vein Tea. One must know that Jade Spirit Vein Tea is the spirit tea that is most commonly served by cultivators to receive guests. It contains very little spiritual qi, but the tea is full of fragrance, with a rich taste that can last for a long time. It's the most economic tea for entertaining guests. Moreover, one can drink it by themselves if they feel like it, and it can even one's strengthen physique. Although the effects aren't as miraculous as pills, Jade Spirit Vein Tea's price is cheaper than pills by thousands of times. As long as one is a cultivator, it's essential to possess this, right? Wait, I got it. Senior is living here in seclusion, in the city, living like ordinary people. It is said that to temper themselves, every 150 years, some seniors would live in with ordinary people and follow their way of life, and truly live like an ordinary person, that is called, realm of mortal tempering. Although this cannot increase their strength, this can make one's will more resolute, and make one's spirit more clear and bright. Then, Senior, please give me orange juice, thank you. Soft Feather revealed a sweet smile. Alright, give me a moment. After a short while, Song Shuhang carried over a large cup of orange juice poured from the refrigerator in the kitchen. Soft Feather received the orange juice, thank you Senior. You're welcome. Song Shuhang replied. This was a good lady, good character, polite, it's a pity that she had Chuyuni. He sat in front of the computer, and connected to the internet. He proficiently opened up Baidu Maps, and entered J City, Luo Xin Street. TL. In case you don't know this, Baidu is like Google in China, and Google is also banned there. Very quickly, the map marked out the location of Luo Xin Street in J City. I've checked, this place is a little far from J City's Luo Xin Street. Song Shuhang said. Dnov OM originally, taking a taxi from Jiangnan Region's airport to J City's Luo Xin Street requires 5 hours or so. But Soft Feather mistook her destination. Luckily, Jiangnan University City was bordering J City, so something like going north when the destination was south did not occur, she only stumbled upon the wrong path midway. Right now, if she takes off from Jiangnan University City, the journey to J City's Luo Xin Street requires another 3.5 hours, and this is without considering the road traffic/condition. To be honest, the condition/traffic of these roads are incredibly inferior, the real amount of time needed to reach there is approximately 5 hours or so. Soft Feather moved over, and when she saw the long distance, she couldn't help but open her mouth wide. Senior, for such a long distance can a taxi go there? Well, they can, but I'm afraid that not many of them will be willing to do so. Song Shuhang replied. He then explained to Soft Feather. A 5-hour car journey is a little far, although the various cities in the vicinity of Jiangnan region can go from one city to another, most of the taxi's drivers work on shifts. Furthermore, going there takes 5 hours, and returning takes another 5 hours. In total it's a 10-hour car journey. How many taxi drivers would want to do this? This is something that isn't a good deal even if there were incentives. Then what do we do? Soft Feather asked. Take a train. Luckily, there's a train station pretty close to J City's Luo Xin Street, Black Elephant Station. This university city's vicinity also has a station like this. Taking a train is also faster than taking a taxi, and it would take at most 2 hours to arrive. Song Shuhang explained. Then what time shall we leave? Soft Feather's eyes shone. No rush, train tickets can now be booked on the same day. Let me see, the train from University City towards Black Elephant Station takes off at 4 p.m. So you will make it as long as you collect the ticket and enter the station by 3:30 p.m. Ha! Wait. What time are we leaving? This lady can't be thinking that I will accompany her to J City's Luo Xin Street, right? I still have classes tomorrow, I'm still a mere student, and can't just leave as I please. Then Senior, let us quickly book 2 tickets online. Do you need my identity card? Soft Feather happily said, she felt very lucky that she was able to meet someone willing to help her like Senior Song. Cough cough, us. Song Shuhang's cold cough has relapsed. You mean you want to book 2 tickets? You and me. Ah. Senior isn't accompanying me there. Soft Feather stared blankly, and her face immediately blushed. She was indeed too excited earlier, and assumed that Song Shuhang would accompany her to J City. She didn't even ask for Senior's input, it was too rude of her. Senior, I was too rude earlier, and didn't ask for Senior's opinion before acting on my own initiative. Senior, may I ask if you can accompany me on a trip to J City's Luo Xian Street? To be honest, I'm bad with directions. I'm afraid I won't be able to find Ghost Lamp Temple. Soft Feather beseeched. Song Shuheng sighed, and rejected her. Although I wish to help, I'm afraid I'm powerless in this matter. The train leaves at 4 p.m., so it will be at least 6:30 p.m. in the evening when it reaches. It is unknown what Soft Feather wants to do there, and what time she will be done with her matters there. But one thing is for sure, I wouldn't be able to get back by noon tomorrow. Yet he has classes at noon tomorrow. Soft Feather was immediately incredibly disappointed. She's a lady whose thoughts are written all over her face. Senior, is it because you don't have time? Yep, it's because I have classes at noon tomorrow. Song Shuheng answered. Looking at the face of Soft Feather that looked like she was about to kneel, he suddenly felt that his rejection earlier was a little too stern, and was worried that it hurt this lady's fragile heart. Thinking of that, he negotiated, if. What I mean is, Soft Feather, if you're not in too much of a hurry, I do have the time to accompany you to J City next Friday. I am currently a student, and only have rest days on Saturday and Sunday. Next Friday. Soft Feather was still disappointed. Although she could wait 1 or 2 days, 5 days is a little too long. Her father might enjoy messing with people, but he obviously wouldn't stay and play at Mad Saber 3 Waves Place for half a month. However, she suddenly thought of something, and her eyes shined brightly. She seriously asked, Senior Song, if you don't have classes tomorrow afternoon. And I'm only hypothesizing, can you accompany me to J City then? Chapter 14. Let me send 2 chests of medicinal ingredients as my gift of thanks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Cough, cough, Soft Feather, if the matters you want to do don't require much time, then perhaps it's possible. Song Shuheng chuckled. But tomorrow's afternoon class was planned even before school reopened. There's no way it would be cancelled unless there was a special reason. Shuheng did not want to be entangled in this topic for too long, and immediately changed the subject. Soft Feather, the place you're attempting to go to is Ghost Lamp Temple, right? Why didn't you confirm its location before setting off? The innocent young lady was easily swayed into a different subject. Yes, I only know that the destination is at J City Luo Xian Street, and had my Marshall nephews book the air ticket before rushing over. I never expected Ghost Lamp Temple to be this hard to find. Marshall nephews. There's still such a thing in this day and age. While lost in thought, Song Shuheng tapped on the keyboard, and entered J City, Luo Xian Street, Ghost Lamp Temple on the search bar. There was information on J City in Luo Xian Street, but no information on Ghost Lamp Temple at all. There was no sign on the map either. It should either be a very small temple, or it had already closed down long ago, right? Senior Song, can you let me borrow your computer? I want to gather information myself. Also, perhaps Senior North River from the group has some news. Soft Feather suddenly said. Song Shuheng nodded. He first logged out of his chat account, then got up from the seat. Soft Feather sweetly smiled, sat down, and proficiently typed in her chat credentials. The group's North River's loose practitioner as before didn't reply. It was rare for this senior to stay offline for so long. Shuheng thought he was a true 24/7 internet warrior. Soft Feather was a little disappointed. She closed the chat window and began searching for all the information regarding Luo Xian Street and its surrounding temples. She began to guess whether Ghost Lamp Temple no longer existed, or it had already changed its name. Song Shuheng watched from the side for a while, when he suddenly remembered that both his and Soft Feather's phones were out of battery. Soft Feather, give me your phone. I have a charger here. It should take only an hour or so to fully charge. Song Shuheng said. Thank you, Senior. Soft Feather quickly took out her phone and handed it over to Song Shuheng. Shuheng received it, and brought his phone to charge at the same time as well. When Song Shuhang turned around, Soft Feather's hands danced on the keyboard at lightning speeds, pa 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 pa. In that moment her hand speed was at least 900 APM. With such hand speeds, if she became a professional gamer, she could become a god that schooled the others. APM is a term that means actions per minute. It's often used in MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena, games. E.g. StarCraft, LOL, Dota. On the computer, more and more windows rapidly popped up and closed, many web pages opened and refreshed. Very soon, a male student's information was displayed. A half-body portrait of Song Shuhang with a wide smile, and his personal information beside it. Song Shuhang, Jiangnan University's Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculty's 19th Department 43rd class. Soon after a window quickly popped up, it was Song Shuhang's class timetable. What immediately popped up after was Monday afternoon's class. Professor Ren Shui. That was a young, promising and handsome professor. He stood tall and straight, wore a black framed spectacles, with a gentle smile on his face. He could be classified as the type of man that effortlessly attracts the hearts of all the young maidens wherever he goes. Everything happened in a flash. After acquiring the information she wanted, Soft Feather once again closed all of the web pages at high speeds. A class that had been scheduled for a long time naturally wouldn't casually be cancelled, but accidents always happen in the world. For example, the teacher in charge of the class getting hit by a car and hurting his leg, missing a step and spraining his leg, accidentally falling off the bed and spraining his leg, getting bitten by a dog on his leg. And so on. Anyways, all kinds of leg injuries that would cause hospitalization. That way, tomorrow's afternoon class should either be suspended or delayed for a couple of days, right? This was what Soft Feather thought in her heart. She felt that this idea of hers was fantastic, and secretly praised herself inside. On the other side of town, in the apartment building for teachers over 10 kilometers away. Teacher Ren Shui, who was playing with his daughter, suddenly shivered for unknown reasons, and immediately sneezed multiple times. He rubbed his nose as he thought. There's another schoolgirl thinking of this handsome and charismatic teacher again. Oh kids, being too handsome also causes headaches, don't you know he's already married and has a career? After Soft Feather closed the web page, she stealthily turned around to look at Song Shuhang. Realizing that he was still on the other side trying to charge the phones, she quietly breathed a sigh of relief, giving off a feeling like she was up to mischief behind her senior. At the same time, after she investigated so much information, her instincts told her. Senior Song seemed more and more like an ordinary person. She once again thought of the scene and the words Song Shuhang said when they met, "Call me Little Song," or even "Shuhang, please don't call me Senior anymore." Is it because Senior Song's realm of mortal tempering skills are too profound, or is it just her misunderstanding something? After closing all of the web pages, Soft Feather stretched her fingers. Soon after, her gaze fell onto the open notebook beside the computer. On it was a dazzling list of medicine names. It was precisely the simplified body tempering liquid posted by Medicine Master from 9 provinces, 1, group. Shuhang initially wanted to bring this to his cousin Zhao Yaya for research, however it doesn't include fresh Overlord Branch, 9. Yang Scarlet Flame Bamboo, Morning Dew Mysterious Grass and the other medicinal ingredients that are brimming with the smell of Chuyuni. Senior Song is also researching this pill recipe. Soft Feather wondered in her heart. However, she quickly realized that the recipe copied by Song Shuhang didn't seem to be the complete version. Why did Senior only copy down the simple and ordinary medicinal ingredients? Why didn't he include Morning Dew Mysterious Grass and some of the other ingredients? Wait, could it be that Senior Song actually wants to go deeper with the philosophy of Senior Medicine Master's recipe? To take another step forward in lowering the costs of producing the body tempering liquid. When she thought of it this way, Soft Feather's eyes immediately shone bright. Coincidentally, right as Song Shuhang turned around, he saw Soft Feather staring at his notebook. This is bad, written on it is that Chuyuni pill recipe. This is truly like having mud fall on the crotch of his pants, even though it wasn't poop, it is now poop. Soft Feather definitely thinks that I am her kindred spirit, a person who is also deeply afflicted by Xianxia Chunibu. Sure enough, Soft Feather opened her mouth to ask a question that felt full of Chuyuni to Shu Hang. Senior, are you also researching Senior Medicine Master's recipe? How many furnaces can you succeed with in one try? Soft Feather happily asked with the mentality of one asking for guidance from her senior. She followed the recipe provided by Senior Medicine Master and attempted many times. Because her control over the flames was insufficient, she only succeeded 3 out of 10 times. It's a pity that although she likes concocting pills, she doesn't have the slightest talent in it. Wasting medicinal ingredients like that, if other cultivators saw, they would definitely drown her in spittle. However, she has a strong and rich father. A small amount of wasted medicinal ingredients for concocting body-tempering liquid is just like wasting a drop of water in their pond at Spiritual Butterfly Island, an extremely trivial matter. I didn't concoct. Song Shuhang looked like he was about to cry. He had indeed been taken to be her kindred spirit. Why? Could it be that Senior Song wants to further improve Senior Medicine Master's recipe? Soft Feather's eyes sparkled as she excitedly spoke. Song Shuhang was silent. He originally wanted to reply by saying that he can't possibly be concocting a strange Chuyuni pill like this, but seeing the glittering light in Soft Feather's eyes, he felt that it wasn't right to hurt this lady. After thinking for a long time, he found a rather honest answer. Actually, it is because medicinal ingredients are not convenient to find here. Due to many complicated reasons, I don't have any medicinal ingredients on hand, that's why. I simply didn't have the opportunity to concoct. What he said was fact. Among the medicinal ingredients in the recipe, even after eliminating those Xuanhuan Chuyuni ingredients, the other ingredients added together aren't cheap. One must know that precious medicinal ingredients like ginseng are priced by per liangs. TL.1 liang equals 50 grams, as a student, he simply couldn't buy it, not even if he sold his kidney. Ah! I'm so sorry, Senior, so there was a reason like this. Soft Feather nodded and said, while delighted in her heart. Although she didn't know why Senior Song doesn't even have the medicinal ingredients for a mere body-tempering liquid, in Spiritual Butterfly Island such medicinal ingredients can be stacked to be as tall as a mountain. Senior, after I return, let me send 2 chests of medicinal ingredients as my gift of thanks. Soft Feather insisted. This was how she planned to repay Shu Hang. In any case, by hook or by crook, she had already decided to have Shu Hang help her look for Ghost Lamp Temple. 2 chests of medicinal ingredients, these words sounded so domineering. To reinterpret these words as something more straightforward, it means, Senior, I'll send you 2 boxes of ginseng as a gift of thanks. If the interpretation above is still not blunt enough, then take a look at this version. Senior, I'll send you 2 boxes of gold bars as my gift of thanks. The value of the medicinal ingredients Soft Feather wanted to send was definitely many times more expensive than gold bars. It was a pity that of this moment Song Shuhang simply didn't know the value of these 2 chests of medicinal ingredients that Soft Feather mentioned, otherwise he would have knelt to this tyrant long ago. Chapter 15. Professor Renshui's injury. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In Song Shuhang's mind he thought, I'm afraid these 2 chests of medicinal ingredients are various kinds of weird things, right? At the very least it won't be expensive items. So he casually said, then I'll first thank you. By the way, do you have an account for the ticket booking website? Soft Feather shook her head. It didn't matter whether it was an air ticket or land ticket, she had never needed to book one herself. Her family had many servant disciples in Spiritual Butterfly Island. Bedo Dem, pass me your identification card then, I'll book a ticket for you in a moment. Song Shuhang replied. All right. Soft Feather obediently handed over her identification card, then asked, Senior Song, may I go look around on the balcony? Don't be so reserved, do whatever you like. Song Shuhang smiled as he spoke. What a good and polite lady, a pity she's a Chuyuni. Soft Feather bashfully grinned, then walked to the balcony and surveyed the outside. On the east side of the balcony was a wide path and the school's garden, with nothing blocking the view. Although this was only the second floor, the field of view was rather vast. Soft Feather first carefully observed Song Shuhang, then sneakily executed a small magic to cancel energy fluctuations to hide her following actions, so that Senior Song didn't find out. With her preparations done, she stealthily took out a pair of contact lenses from her pocket and put them on. Don't look down on these. These are magical treasures personally refined by spiritual butterflies. Respected sage, desiring 1,000 miles eyes, take it up a notch. The name was a little long, but this was basically an upgraded version of 1,000 miles eyes. Once the lenses are put on, it's like the name implies, it could give the person a view from high altitudes, like a god overlooking the land. This was the painstaking creation of a father who knew his daughter easily gets lost. It was for his daughter to have a bird's eye view of an area when she loses her directions and to help her find the correct path. It was full of fatherly love. They say that a daughter is like a father's lover in his previous lifetime. Sure enough, these words were right. If it was a son, spiritual butterflies respected safe definitely wouldn't put so much thought into this. A proper adult man getting lost, wouldn't that be humiliating if it was known? If you can't find the path, don't you know how to tear down whatever is in the way and take a straight path towards the destination? To advance bravely is a man's dream. TL. The a man's dream here has the exact same meaning/words as otoko no Roman in Japanese, if you know what that means. Putting aside this matter, let's get back to Soft Feather. Soft Feather used the magical treasure's godly view to quickly lock onto Jiangnan University's teachers' apartments. Then following the intelligence, smoothly locked onto that tall and scholarly Professor Ren Shui who wore a pair of black-framed spectacles. At this moment, the innocent teacher Ren Shui was having an afternoon nap with his daughter who was just 6 months old. Because, having an afternoon nap with his daughter, could easily lead some gentlemen to misunderstand, it was necessary to add in the daughter's age. To once again reinforce that statement, this was a 6-month-old daughter. Everything proceeded extremely smoothly, as if there was a god lending a helping hand. Found it. Soft Feather was happy inside, and her palms joined together. Sorry, I'm really sorry, I will definitely compensate you, but right now you must injure your leg and get hospitalized. When she joined her palms, there was a golden talisman flickering. Things like talismans were usually one-time/single-use items, but there were also high-grade merchandise that could be reused many times. Without a doubt, the one in Soft Feather's hands was a high-grade tool. Only second-generation cultivators like Soft Feather who had a rich father would waste high-grade talismans in this manner. It wasn't easy to make high-grade talismans. Although they could be repeatedly used, they still had a limit. The more it's used, the sooner it breaks. When ordinary cultivators attain a high-grade talisman, they would even roll it up, make an incision and insert it into their body. The gold talisman power began moving under Soft Feather's control. Far away, at the teacher's apartment building. While teacher Ren Shui was asleep, a force suddenly pushed him, and he fell off the bed. What was very unfortunate was, his leg was at an angle which it could easily get hurt. Therefore, crash, crack, there was the sound of something twisting. Hiss. Teacher Ren Shui woke up from the pain and groaned. He was immediately in cold sweat, and the sprained leg rapidly swelled up. But so as not to disturb his cute daughter who was sleeping, he tightly gripped onto the quilt/blanket, tightly clenched his teeth and sent his screams back to his stomach. Pity all the parents of the world. With his teeth still clenched, teacher Ren Shui quickly rubbed his ankle. He was obviously experienced. With a sprain of this level, there was no need to be hospitalized, he just needs to rub a little Honghua ointment and rest, and it should be fine the next day. After rubbing for a while, Teacher Renshue stood on one leg, and hopped towards the refrigerator while leaning against the wall. However, Soft Feather's magic hasn't ended. Her objective was to send this pitiful teacher into the hospital. Teacher Renshue thought it was an accident that he fell off the bed and hurt his knee. He didn't know that there was a mysterious force secretly trying to hurt his leg to the point of hospitalization being required. Meaning, he had no idea how dangerous it was for him to lean against the wall and hop on one leg. It was without doubt that this way of moving forward was incredibly suitable for him to hurt himself again. Teacher Renshue hopped, and suddenly his hop missed. Crack, this time it was the sound of bones breaking. It was his perfectly fine leg, fractured. The injury this time was more serious than his injury on the other leg. Teacher Renshue crashed into the ground, with his eyes wide open. He sucked in a cool breath. This time he was in so much pain that tears appeared. A man's tears do not easily fall, they only fall for heartbreaking matters. He gazed upon his sprained leg, and his broken leg, and his eyes immediately turned moist. But there was no choice other than to resign himself to bad luck. After sucking in cool breaths for a while, he carefully took out his phone, and made a call to his lord wife, requesting backup. His lord wife was also a teacher at Jiangnan University. Because his daughter was around, it wasn't a good idea for him to directly call for an ambulance. He has to wait for his wife to return, so that she can take care of his daughter while he is sent to the hospital. When she heard her husband narrate the experience of injuring the two legs, Teacher Renshue's wife felt worried, yet also felt that what happened was funny. After hastily requesting leave for a single class, she rushed back home. After Teacher Renshue ended his call with his lord wife, he made a call to the school management, requesting leave for his 3 classes tomorrow afternoon. With the condition his 2 legs were in, he definitely had to be hospitalized, and so he naturally had to let the school rearrange the classes. Done. Soft Feather nodded with satisfaction, and stored her gold talisman. With this, her objective has been completed. Since Teacher Renshue requested for leave, tomorrow afternoon's class would be cancelled. If there aren't classes tomorrow, Song Shuhang would be free. If Shuhang is free, he can accompany her to J City. Look. It really was that simple. With the matter settled, Soft Feather was in a great mood. After she returned into the room, she noticed that Song Shuhang was on the ticket booking website booking train tickets for her. Senior Song, how about you book a ticket for yourself as well? Perhaps you don't have afternoon classes tomorrow. Soft Feather moved forward, and gently prodded. If there truly aren't classes I will book one more ticket. Song Shuhang joked. The moment he said that. Ding dong, at this time, the school's email network suddenly had a pop-up. Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculty's 19th Department 43rd Class students please take note. As Teacher Renshue is injured and hospitalized, tomorrow afternoon's Mathematical Sciences Statistics class will be swapped with Professor Smith's University English class. Please notify each other, and make the appropriate preparations. Thank you. This information was repeatedly broadcasted 3 times. Furthermore, it was set to be rebroadcasted once an hour. Jiangnan University's management moves very fast, and works very efficiently. From the moment Teacher Renshue made a call requesting leave, till this message was sent, only a minute or 2 had passed. Teacher Renshue is injured. What a coincidence. However, tomorrow's lesson is changed to English class. Do I have to attend that old fashion class taught by that old fellow Smith? Song Shuhang muttered to himself. But Soft Feather, who stood by his side, suddenly had her eyes moistened. This was like kicking a ball 1 feet forward, only to have the goalpost shifted 10 feet away. However, as someone who is from Spiritual Butterfly Island, she definitely can't give up so easily. Definitely not. Chapter 16. This matter feels a tad abnormal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Since sending one teacher to the hospital is no big deal, why not send two? Since I've already started something, I can't give up halfway. This English teacher named Smith will be sent to the hospital too. Determination flashed in Soft Feather's eyes. Along with killing intent. Senior song, is this teacher Smith of yours a foreigner? What does he look like? Soft Feather pretended to be curious as she asked. That fella. He's an old-fashioned man. His standard of teaching is good, though. Song Shuhang grinned as he said, then casually tapped on the name, Professor Smith, in the message. Soon after, the face of an old English man with a rigid face and flawlessly combed hair popped out. Jiangnan University's school network has a large information system, where as long as one has the required level of authority, all of the students' and teachers' information can be found. He looks so serious. Does he also stay at the teachers' apartments? Soft Feather nervously asked. Yep, that's right. Song Shuhang didn't think much of it as he nodded, and continued to key in the particulars of Soft Feather's identity card. He then registered and prepared to book the tickets. Soft Feather felt embarrassed as she smiled, and quietly walked back to the balcony. She once again put on the magical tool. Desiring 1,000 miles eyes, take it up a notch. Very soon, she located her target. TL. I've got you in my sights. Soldier 76, as of that moment, Professor Smith was out on a walk with his dog, by the school's river. Strange, is there a cold wind blowing? Suddenly, this rigid old Englishman tightened his collar. He felt a mysterious chill, and was baffled. Sorry. Just like Teacher Renshui, after I'm done with my matters, I will compensate you. Soft Feather again mumbled, then her hands rubbed the gold talisman. At the school's river. The rigid Englishman felt that his condition today wasn't good, and spontaneously decided to return to the hostel and rest. Let's go back. Perfect timing, I still have to prepare the contents for tomorrow's class. Having said that, Professor Smith pulled on the dog's leash. Woo. At this time, his normally obedient pet dog suddenly howled, while its eyes turned completely red. Professor Smith felt a tremendous force coming from the dog's leash. The little puppy usually follows obediently with a gentle pull, yet today it fiercely pulled the leash. Professor Smith frowned, then used more force to pull on the dog's leash. Wong. The pet dog indeed followed the dog leash as it returned, but it returned pouncing with red eyes. His mouth ferociously opened, targeting the Englishman's skinny calf, and fiercely bit down on it. Oh, no. Help. Help me. At the riverside, Professor Smith's screams resounded. 15 minutes later. At the affiliated hospital close to Jiangnan University, in a room with 2 beds. Teacher Renshui was lying in bed, both his legs dangled high, showing an extremely shameful posture. His wife held their child, while she displayed an expression of not knowing whether to laugh or to cry. Right at this time, the ward's door was opened, and a rigid-looking Englishman was pushed into the ward. Ha! Professor Smith. Aren't you supposed to substitute me for tomorrow afternoon's class? What happened? Teacher Renshui was surprised and questioned him. The Englishman spoke with clear Mandarin as he angrily said, I was bitten by Ham. It's the dog I'm raising. The doctor said it bit too hard, and hurt the bone. I have to be hospitalized. When I'm discharged tomorrow I will slaughter it and turn it into stew. It seemed like this rigid old Englishman was deeply hurt emotionally by the puppy he was raising. He felt that dog was practically a white-eyed wolf that cannot be domesticated. It so fiercely bit onto him, and nearly wanted his old life. Stew, it must be stewed. TL. White-eyed wolf means ungrateful person. Teacher Renshui felt that the events of today were a tad abnormal. At the dormitory, Song Shuhang had already booked a train ticket for Soft Feather. At this time, the school's email network once again broadcasted a new message. Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculty's 19th Department 43rd Class students, please take note. As Professor Smith is injured and hospitalized, tomorrow afternoon's university English class is cancelled. Mechanical Engineering Discipline, Machinery Designs and Manufacturing Faculty's 19th Department 43rd Class students are to have a half-day break tomorrow afternoon. Please notify each other, and make the appropriate preparations. Thank you. Likewise, this message was broadcasted 3 times in a row. Moreover, it was set to be rebroadcasted every half an hour, so as to cover up the previous message. Song Shuhang looked at this short message. In his mind thousands of grass mud horses crazily galloped across. Grass mud horse is how the Chinese say, F***k your mother on the internet, they sound almost the same. He turned around to look at Soft Feather, who had a flowery smile. He felt that the things that happened today are a tad abnormal. In the end, Shuhang still had to go along with Soft Feather to J City, because he no longer had a reason not to accompany Soft Feather for this trip. He truly didn't expect for the 2 professors to be sent to the hospital one after another. The probabilities of this were practically the same as winning the top prize in a lottery, yet he somehow managed to strike it. Due to the tragic encounters of the 2 professors, he had a whole day of free time tomorrow. Therefore, under Soft Feather's expectant gaze, he booked 2 train tickets to J City. The ticket number was the one right after Soft Feather's, therefore it was the seat immediately next to hers. Hey Soft Feather, for the 2 professors to be hospitalized in succession, do you think it is a coincidence? Shuhang unyieldingly stared at Soft Feather without blinking. These were eyes that could kill, using an oppressive air to force the enemy to confess. Under this fierce gaze, the one getting stared at would feel uneasy if they lied. The matters today were indeed excessively coincidental. A professor was sent to a hospital, while another professor substituted for the class, and in less than 3 minutes that Professor 2 was abruptly sent to the hospital. What kind of bullshit storyline was this? Shuhang had long thought that he had passed the age of delusions and fantasies. Wuxia dreams, Xianxia dreams and so on should have left his life a long time ago. But right now, he truly suspected that Soft Feather had some special abilities that had somehow caused the 2 professors to be hospitalized. When he opened his mind, he even thought towards the side of evil. This young lady is actually the young mistress of a terrifying dark organization. Like in the movies, she has a large bunch of people following her in secret, and ready to fulfill whatever she wishes. Then, because she wanted him to accompany her to J City, those covert subordinates ruthlessly sent the 2 professors to the hospital. Yet upon receiving this death stare from Song Shuhang, Soft Feather instead wore an unperturbed expression. How can that be? I'm not the kind to do such things, right? Senior Song, you must believe I'm just using as a slang for I. Soft Feather is using a countryside slang in that sentence. Her innocent eyes were like a sacred lake that has never been tainted by anybody, but where did that slang come from? Luckily, Shuhang didn't continue pursuing this topic. He just felt that all these events were too surprising, and casually asked. We will set off at approximately 3:10 p.m. in the afternoon, and will be able to arrive at Jiangnan University Station at 3:30 p.m. Since we still have some time, why not you make use of it by looking up the internet for information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple? I'll go purchase lunch for us both. Is there anything you can't eat? Song Shuhang asked. Nope, I can eat anything. Soft Feather answered. At this moment, in order to conceal the uneasiness in her heart, even if her most hated green peppers appeared in front of her, she would dump them straight into her mouth. Then you try your best to find Ghost Lamp Temple. I'll be back in a jiffy. If before that my roommates return, just tell them you're my friend. Song Shuhang waved his hand as he went out the door. After Song Shuhang left, Soft Feather guiltily cringed in front of the computer, then continued to research all of the temples in the Luo Xin street of J City, going through them one by one. June 2nd, at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Song Shuhang's 3 roommates had received the school's email notification, so they didn't return to the dormitory today. Soft Feather, it's time to go. Song Shuhang called out. Coming. Soft Feather stood up in front of the computer, crestfallen. She had researched for half a day, yet still didn't manage to find any information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. Meanwhile, it was unknown what happened to North River's loose practitioner as he didn't come online for the whole afternoon. Song Shuhang put the stuff he bought from the foodie paradise into the fridge, then wrote a simple note for his 3 roommates, mentioning that there was food in the fridge for them to eat. For this trip he brought a sling bag. Inside, he placed his phone, power bank and charger. It was unknown how long this trip would take. If his phone runs out of battery, things could become extremely troublesome. Soft Feather pulled her large suitcase along while following Shuhang out. Shuhang saw how dejected she was, and asked, couldn't find Ghost Lamp Temple. There's completely zero information, I don't even know if it has changed its name or has been torn down. Right now there is only the option of going to J City and asking the locals there. Soft Feather said gloomily. When the boat gets to the pier head it will naturally straighten itself, let's get there first. The two spoke as they walked, and took the elevator down. As it was 3 p.m. in the afternoon, the number of people in the dormitory gradually increased, and the boarding students from the various disciplines began returning to school. Ah Hang, where are you going to play? Approaching was Shuhang's classmates' greeting while waving their hands. Soon, their attention was stolen by Soft Feather who was behind Song Shuhang. What a tall beauty. Chapter 17. Investigation for Ghost Lamp Temple. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hee, sending my elder sister back, and having fun with her along the way. Our teachers are on leave, so we could play for one more day. Shuhang intentionally attached importance to the 2 words elder sister as he spoke. The relationship between him and Soft Feather must be presented clearly. Otherwise, with this bunch of gossipers, the entire faculty will have knowledge of Song Shuhang having a girlfriend who has a figure that is even more tyrannical than models. That way, Song Shuhang's innocence will be lost. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that he was in university to find a girlfriend and end the virginity of his body, and that would become difficult. Moreover, he also wanted to retaliate against the identity of a senior that Soft Feather gave him. He's only 18 years young, yet he was being called a senior over and over by a lady. Are you asking for a beating? It's your sister Shuhang. The guys from the same dormitory's eyes shone, in their hearts they all thought of the same thing, Shuhang, aren't we friends? If we could evolve once more from this term called friends and become Shuhang's brother. In law that would be even better. We're leaving now, see you. Shuhang laughed out loud, and didn't give these fellas the chance to meet and greet. He waved goodbye, then charismatically left. Soft Feather smiled as she waved towards those guys too, and quickly followed Song Shuhang out of the male's dormitory. This brat Shuhang actually has such a beautiful sister. I've decided, from tomorrow onward Shuhang is my bro, I'll take good care of him. Someone joked. You want to be Shuhang's brother. In law even more, right? Another person bantered. Be careful, for you might not just fail at becoming his elder brother. In law, you might instead become Shuhang's little brother. In law. I remember you have a pretty elder sister at home too yo. TCH, if Shuhang's willing to introduce his sister to me, I'll immediately sell my sister to him. I'll even sell one and give another for free. The guys joked about as they returned to the dormitory. After all, she may be stunning, but which modern person hasn't experienced a baptism of beauties on the internet? Who would still have the pure heart for love at first sight? Check that IN is at 3:30 p.m., while the train leaves at 4 p.m. Soft Feather took the window seat, while Song Shuheng sat beside her. To be honest, when he got onto the train with Soft Feather, Song Shuheng suddenly thought of the few modern genre novels he read recently. In those, whenever the male lead goes out with the female lead, it doesn't matter whether it's driving a sports car, taking the metro/subway, sitting the bus, or even riding a bicycle, there would always be a mean actor backstage that takes fancy to the beauty of the female lead, and would come up to provoke them. Possessing supreme skills, the male lead will naturally be in the limelight, and will deal with the mean actor in various harsh ways. Then the mean actor will take off, with hatred in his heart. Without the guts to openly deal with the male lead, he secretly prepares various evil schemes. Then there will be all kinds of enmity and retaliation. Shuheng resigned himself to the fact that he wasn't like those male leads. However, the beauty of Soft Feather beside him shouldn't be beneath those female leads in the modern novels. Therefore, Song Shuheng thought, will there be some kick-ass dude that appears wanting to know a beauty, who will then provoke him in various ways? When that happens, should he kill that person to prevent future troubles? Or should he just beat him till he's half dead? It's a pity that novels are just novels. In reality, perhaps there are those rampant and brainless mean actors, but there are too few. They are as rare as giant pandas, and aren't easy to meet. On the slow 2-hour train ride, there simply wasn't a single person who came to provoke Shuheng, and nobody who tried to approach Soft Feather. This made Shuheng feel a little disappointed. Half an hour through the journey, Soft Feather was sleepy, and fell asleep in the seat. Not long later, her body leaned to the side, and her head rested on Shuheng's shoulder. Song Shuheng could only relax his shoulders to let the lady sleep more comfortably. The 2 hours of the train journey passed quickly. Ding ding ding, hello travelers, the train has arrived at Black Elephant Station, please do not forget your belongings, and exit from the train from the doors on the right. When alighting, please mind the gap. We've arrived. Song Shuheng lightly patted Soft Feather. In a daze, Soft Feather opened her eyes. While rubbing her eyes, there was clear saliva flowing from the corner of her mouth. Is it morning? Mo, he actually felt Mo from a girl who looked older than him. The train has reached the station, let's quickly get off. Song Shuheng pulled her hand and dragged along the heavy suitcase out of the train's carriage. Only after the train whistled away did Soft Feather truly wake up. Senior, what time is it? It's 6:07 p.m. in the evening, we're already at J City's Black Elephant Station. When we get out we can directly take a taxi to Luo Xian Street, then we'll first find a place to stay there. Song Shuheng answered. Alright, I'll follow Senior's arrangements. Soft Feather nodded. This is what she likes the most. Having someone plan where to eat, drink and stay for her, and all she needs to do is to follow the arrangements. She doesn't even need to work her brain, this feeling was true happiness. There was a taxi stand at Black Elephant Station, and there were many taxis awaiting customers. Hey man, where to? A taxi stopped beside Song Shuheng and Soft Feather. Luo Xian Street. Song Shuheng opened the door to the front passenger seat as he answered. J City's Luo Xian Street. Soft Feather added on, this lady was traumatized by Jiangnan region's Luo Xian Street. The taxi driver was first stunned, then casually smiled, you're an amusing lady. Soft Feather knew she made a joke out of herself, and blushed. J City's Luo Xian Street was very close to the Black Elephant train station, and was a mere 10-minute car journey. After the two got off the taxi, using the phone's GPS they found a hotel to temporarily stay at. As the two of them weren't husband and wife, there wasn't even a need to think of something romantic like sharing a room. Even if Song Shuheng wanted to, and Soft Feather doesn't reject, the hotel's boss might not agree. In this day and age, things are too strict. If something bad happens, the hotel has to bear a part of the responsibility. After dinner, taking advantage of the fact that it was still relatively bright, the two prepared to stroll around Luo Xian Street to look for Ghost Lamp Temple. Soft Feather had to first deposit her suitcase into the room. Shu Heng didn't have such a need, so he waited by the front desk after receiving the card. There weren't many guests today, so the receptionist lady wasn't busy. Song Shu Heng seized this opportunity to ask, "Excuse me, I would like to ask if there's a place called Ghost Lamp Temple in Luo Xin Street." The receptionist lady pondered for a while, then shook her head. "My apologies, mister, there are quite a number of temples in Luo Xin Street, but I've never heard of Ghost Lamp Temple." For a temple with such a unique name, if it existed there was no way she would have never heard of it before. Then are there similarly named temples? Perhaps it might not be called Ghost Lamp Temple, it might be called Ghost Ascending Temple, Scholar Lamp Temple, Returning Seat Temple, anything is possible. Shu Heng continued asking. TL. All of these sound similar to Ghost Lamp Temple in Chinese. Right now the internet is so well developed, yet a trace of a clue to the temple cannot even be found. Perhaps the name was something else entirely that sounds similar. The receptionist lady conscientiously thought for a long time, then once again shook her head. "Sorry, I'm afraid I can't help you. Perhaps it's a temple from a long time ago. If Mr. truly wants to find it, you may attempt asking the elderly in Luo Xin Street." "Thank you," said Song Shu Heng while nodding. As they spoke, Soft Feather already came out of her room. "Where are we going to next?" she asked. "Let's randomly stroll around. Our primary aim is to look for groups of elderly chatting idly, and see if we can get some information from them." While the two chatted, they left the hotel. Right as the two left the hotel, in the hotel's lounge, a lady with a grave expression took out her phone. "Altar Master, I'm at Luo Xian Glory Hotel and saw someone looking for information regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. One man and one woman, they look approximately 20 years old or so. Has what should have come finally arrived? How strong are they?" On the line, a cold and indifferent voice sounded. "The woman appears to be very strong, while the man looks like an ordinary person. However, the woman treats him with incredible respect, and privately addresses him as her senior," answered the lady. "How strong?" That voice remained unflustered and cold. "Your subordinate can't make it out at all, and could only feel that she's very strong." "I understand. Continue monitoring their movements, do not let them discover you. I will attempt to probe their limits. In addition, tell the members at the other monitoring points to keep their guards up. We can't say for sure that these two are the only ones looking for Ghost Lamp Temple." "Affirmative." The lady closed her phone and quickly walked out of the hotel, walking in the direction Song Shu Heng and Soft Feather had left. Chapter 18. Meeting familiar faces in another place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A man covered the phone on the other end of the call. His face was cold and remote, but the hand grasping the phone shook slightly. It had been 60 years. He also knew that the original owner of the Ghost Lamp Temple had a domineering strength and wouldn't die that easily. However, it had been 60 years. He felt that perhaps the original owner of the Ghost Lamp Temple no longer cared about this area. So, he began to make his preparations and surreptitiously tried to break through the seal on the sides of the Ghost Lamp Temple to obtain what was inside. He hadn't thought that someone would still come looking for it in the end. Damn it. The man ground his teeth. After they had walked out from the hotel, Shu Heng and Soft Feather started aimlessly shopping around the Luo Xian streets. They didn't run into any groups of chit-chatting elders, but ran into something far more interesting: 5 drunk perverts. He didn't run into the circumstances of femme fatale on the train, but he hadn't thought that after arriving on the Luo Xian streets, he'd bump into the plot line of a bunch of drunk perverts forming lascivious intentions after seeing a pretty girl. It was a sparsely populated small alleyway where the 5 drunks swayed as they blocked Song Shu Heng and Soft Feather's way. 5 pairs of eyes were bloodshot as they stared greedily at Soft Feather. Alcohol could bolster a hero's courage and does the same for petty characters. None of the acts that people could commit whilst under the influence were worth goggling about. They could do anything from kissing female pigs, biting dogs, and slugging it out with each other. The 5 drunks had never seen such a beautiful lass in their lives. They couldn't move their eyes away after seeing Soft Feather. Hot damn! This woman is as beautiful as a fairy. If I can have a round with her, I'm down even if I lose 10 years of my life. These were their thoughts, and so they surrounded Soft Feather and Song Shuhang, using their inebriation as an excuse. What were they afraid of? In the worst case, they would just spend a few years in jail. This was the pathetic part of not understanding the law. They'd only vaguely heard people mention it in passing boasts that forcing themselves on girls would result in a few years in jail. Did they think that the times now were still those of a few years ago, or that this was India? These days, forcing themselves on a girl meant a life sentence. If the situation was a bit worse off, it'd mean a bullet to the head. Song Shuhang didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he saw this scene. He loosened up his joints and prepared to fight. His fighting abilities weren't bad. He could easily take 3 at a time usually, not to mention these 5 skinny drunkards in front of him. It was precisely because of this that the thugs around school didn't bother him. He could take on 10 of these kinds of opponents. Just as Song Shuhang was about to demonstrate his punches and kicks, a breeze whistled past his ears. He then saw a pair of slender legs kick out repeatedly as fast as lightning. When those legs kicked in the air, it was as if butterflies were flitting through the shrubbery. It posed a wonderfully beautiful sight. Not only did it look pretty, its power was even more frightening. When the pair of legs moved through the air, even the snaps like a whip cracking through air were emitted. The 5 drunkards released shrill yells and flew out backwards, spasming crazily on the ground and vomiting everywhere, falling unconscious after a short while. Face planting onto the ground. How long did it take? A second. Or even shorter. Song Shuhang turned his head back and saw Soft Feather retract her long legs. That was damned awesome, all right. Compared to Soft Feather, his punches and kicks were seriously child's play. Looking at the unconscious drunks, Shuhang suddenly recalled the youths who had collectively lost consciousness outside the school. And he was only hypothesizing here, with the battle strength that Soft Feather had just demonstrated, it seemed that she could indeed have sent those 7, 8, or 10 thugs kissing the ground in a short amount of time that day. However, Soft Feather had been on the plane then. Could the Sioux clan's Shirlu in the chat group really have done it? Could it be that those within the chat group all had off-the-charts battle strength? Are they dead? Song Shuhang was a bit worried. Don't worry, senior, I know the proper limits. They'll be out for 2 days at most before waking up. This timing is perfect, as not eating or drinking for 3 days easily results in problems. Soft Feather answered. These answers gave Song Shuhang a feeling of sudden enlightenment. Those thugs who still remained in their coma, was it because the deadline of 2 days had yet to arrive? Let's go, senior. Soft Feather giggled. Song Shuhang nodded his head stiffly due to his mind being a chaotic mess. He left the alleyway with Soft Feather. After Shuhang and Soft Feather had been gone for quite a while, a man strode over with steady steps from a corner behind the alleyway, making his way to the 5 drunkards. Drunkards are indeed too weak. They couldn't even make the 2 bring their true strength to bear. The man sighed. A figure clothed in black knelt on the ground behind the man, spoke in a low voice, "Altar Master, do you need us to send a few people to test them?" No need. These 5 drunkards were only ordinary people. This is why the pair had held back when they made their moves. If our people made an appearance, they may not act with mercy. The altar master spoke quietly. Each of his underlings had been cultivated with care and effort. Even training an ordinary rookie would require more than 1 million yuan, they weren't expendable goods that he would easily dispose without thought. The girl had made a move to teach these 5 drunks a lesson just now. The level of her strength had been subtly discernible. The legs audibly whipping through air and easy control over her power, this wasn't something that someone of the first-rank mortal ascension level could do. Their opponent was someone who had coalesced true chi. This wasn't a level of existence that his underlings could contend against. Besides, there was another, senior, beside the girl with an unfathomable depth that even he couldn't probe. These opponents could easily use their variety of skills to destroy the elites that he'd spent a great deal of money to train. Even if he had a lot of underlings, it wouldn't do to waste them like this. To be honest, he had been a bit frightened. We can only bide our time and wait for the right moment. The altar master murmured to himself. He'd already lost most of his hope towards attaining the treasure within the Ghost Lamp Temple, he just wasn't quite willing to call it quits yet. Soft Feather and Song Shuhang ambled around Luo Xian Street for another half-day, meeting up with an elder that was 50-some years old, but no one knew of the Ghost Lamp Temple. Song Shuhang felt his head ache. He hadn't thought that even looking for a temple would be this much of a hassle. Soft Feather, are you sure that the Ghost Lamp Temple is within the Luo Xian Street of J City? It is absolutely here, and I haven't remembered the name incorrectly either. Ghost as in ghosts and monsters, lamp as in what's used to light the way. Soft Feather spoke resolutely. My mother brought me here when she was carrying me, but I could only use Father's arts to observe the outside world with my consciousness. All I remember is the Ghost Lamp Temple plaque made from wood. Song Shuhang could understand the first half of her words, but didn't know where she'd traveled off to with the second part. His thoughts and hers were obviously in different dimensions. Then were there any places of interest nearby? The top of a mountain perhaps. Halfway up a mountain. Or a small creek maybe? Shuhang asked. Not a mountain, it should have been flat ground. I don't really remember anything else. Soft Feather said with some embarrassment. Does Senior North River happen to have any news? Soft Feather fished out her cell phone to take a look and said with joy, Senior North River is online. Within the 9 provinces, 1, chat group. North River Loose Practitioner. Soft Feather, have you already found the Ghost Lamp Temple? Not yet, does Senior have any news? Soft Feather entered the message happily. Apologies, I asked some comrades around here, but all the people I know are on the eastern side of Huaxiao. No one knows anything about the J City area. North River Loose Practitioner sent a ruefully smiling emoticon. And, a thorny fellow has just arrived and is still clinging on to me. I'm afraid I won't be of much help from now on. No worries, Senior, please take care of your business. Soft Feather smiled and responded. When Shuhang saw these messages, he immediately felt that this North River Loose Practitioner was a man who couldn't be relied on. He was online every second of the day when he wasn't needed, but something would draw his attention away as soon as he was needed. Senior Song, we're on our own. Soft Feather formed a fist and made a fighting gesture. So cute and girly. For reasons unknown to him, Song Shuhang somehow felt that this woman who looked older than him looked so cute and girly. A blinding row of headlights lit up the street as they were talking. A row of brightly colored motorcycles revved their engines and charged towards Shuhang. It was apparent from the loud sound of their engines that these bikes had all been modified. Bikers. What age is this? Song Shuhang murmured to himself and pulled Soft Feather towards the side of the street. Soft Feather's eyes lit up when she heard the words, bikers, should we finish them off? Song Shuhang was perplexed. Shouldn't bikers all be in jail? Knock them out and send them to jail. Soft Feather rubbed her fists and wiped her palms, eager for action. Girl, you make a lot of sense. I actually have no words for you. However, Soft Feather didn't make a move in the end. When the 7 or 8 bikes passed by Shuhang and Soft Feather, one of them braked suddenly and made a beautiful U-turn, coming to a stop next to Shuhang. Opening the visor of the motorcycle's helmet, a handsome face with dashing eyebrows and bright eyes was revealed. Shuhang. What are you doing here, kid? Chapter 19. Ghost Lamp Temple 50 years ago. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Song Shuhang stared blankly at first, until he recognized who the man riding the bike was. He immediately became delighted. Bo Zai. Why is it you? What are you doing here? This good-looking boy was one of his 3 classmates. Bo Zai. Bo Zai had a handsome appearance and an entirely uncharacteristically garbage name. His surname was Lin, so his full name was Lin Tubo. Bo Zai has hated this name for more than 10 years, he felt that this name was lame to the point of being garbage. Because of this name, he and his father have fought for many years. There was even a time where he brought his passport and ID card to the related department to change his name. In the end, when his father found out, he dragged him home, and gave him a good beating. Therefore, whenever Bo Zai met someone, he would ask them to call him Bo, Little Bo, or Bo Zai. In reality, in Shuheng's point of view, Tu Bo's name could still be considered a tolerable one. Compared to others like Wang Erden, Idiot Wang, and Lu Goshen, Leftover Dog's Hit, his name was certainly much better. Don't think of names like Dog's Hit as merely a joke. In Shuheng's old home, there was someone who bore that name, however, that guy's surname was Wang, so he was called Wang Goshen, Dog's Hit. All along, Wang Goshen had thought that he was actually not related to his father by blood, he even thought that his father bore a grudge against him. Otherwise, how could he possibly have been given such a name? To get back onto topic, Shuheng had never thought that he would meet Bo Zai here. My grandpa lives in J City. This week, my whole family is over at my grandpa's place. But what about you? Why are you running around in J City? Bo Zai was speaking when he suddenly saw the long-legged beauty standing beside Shuheng. Instantly, he clapped his left palm with his right fist. He understood now. It seems like this fella, Shuheng, brought his girl here to play. TSK, Shuheng, you don't seem like it, but your introverted exterior actually hides such a playboy. There was no word at all of you hooking up with such a gorgeous beauty. Next time, you definitely have to treat me to a meal. Bo Zai laughed nastily. Facing Bo Zai's teasing, Song Shuheng was indifferent. Without any telltale signs of being affected, he said, "Don't try to tease blindly. If she's really my girlfriend, I would burn incense to thank the heavens. This is my elder sister, Soft Feather. She wanted to come to J City to look for a place called Ghost Lamp Temple, but doesn't know the way, which is why I'm accompanying her here." Really? Tu Bo gazed intently at Shuheng. Shuheng shrugged. Beside him, Soft Feather smiled sweetly. Heh, fine. If you say she's your sister, then she's your sister. Tu Bo was not a gossip. Munger. Earlier you said you were looking for some temple. Have you found it? Song Shuheng shook his head. We've searched online for a long time but couldn't find anything, which is why we came down here to Luo Xian Street to see if anybody knows. However, even the hotel receptionist had never heard of Ghost Lamp Temple. We don't even know if it changed its name or has been torn down, so we intend to find and ask some elderly locals, perhaps there might be clues by doing so. If that's the case, why don't you visit my place? We could ask my grandpa and see. My grandpa is a proper born and bred J City resident, perhaps he'll know of that ghost, something temple you're looking for. TSK, what a miserable name, a temple with that kind of name definitely won't many visitors. It's probably already closed down. Tu Bo clicked his tongue, he had vehement hatred for bad names. Shuheng's heart was gleeful, but he had to ask, will we be disturbing your family's vacation? Rest assured, my grandpa is great with guests. As for my father, he strongly wants me to study with other students instead of doing random things. I'm already in college, yet he wants me to study all day, it's driving me crazy. Tu Bo chuckled as he said. Even though his words painted a depressing picture, their father and son relationship could be considered pretty good. The only problem was his father liked to beat people up. His father strongly believed that a wooden cane produces a well-educated child. His favorite phrase that he used to hang beside his mouth all the time was, "When it's raining, it's time to beat up the kids. There's nothing better to do anyway." This was quite a pain in Tubo's ass. In the end, Tubo asked, "Shu Heng, do you know how to ride a motorcycle?" "I do, but I don't have a license." Shu Heng replied. "It doesn't matter, at a remote place like this, who would go through the trouble of checking people's driving license?" Tubo laughed loudly, then turned around and called out, "Ah Tong, lend him your motorcycle for a while, you can ride with someone else for now." "Sure." A big and buff guy got off his bike and stopped it in front of Song Shu Heng. "Thank you." Shu Heng smiled. Ah Tong charismatically waved his hand, and rode pillion with one of his comrades. Within the blink of an eye, the large swarm of people had their bikes roaring as they rode into the distance with a loud rumble. Song Shu Heng got onto the black motorcycle, and got a feel of it. He turned the throttle a little, and felt the body of the bike ferociously roar. "This fella has been modified." Shu Heng braked and stopped the bike, smiling. "All of these guys' bikes have been personally modified by me. Their horsepower has been increased multiple times." Tubo smirked. He had forgotten that this fella is a tech otaku and skillful with his hands. Although it wasn't to the point of being able to single-handedly build a Gundam, he's still able to produce various interesting mechanical products. "Soft Feather, get on the bike." Shu Heng turned around and called to Soft Feather. It was lucky that she had left her huge luggage back at the hotel. Otherwise, how would they bring it along on such a small bike? Soft Feather straddled onto the bike, sitting behind Shu Heng. Her soft breasts pressed onto Shu Heng's back, causing Soft Feather to feel soft in the legs. In front of them, Tubo laughed. "Follow me." Amidst the rumbling of the engines, two bikes shot into the distance one after the other. Tubo's grandpa is a very modern old man, and he also liked to tinker with things like engines. This hobby of Tubo's seems to have been inherited from his grandpa. Because he is very modern, he easily gets along with young people. Ghost Lamp Temple. You mean there are still youngsters who know of that place? Tubo's grandpa laughed heartily. When Shu Heng heard him say that, he knew that something was definitely up. Immediately, he asked, "Ah Yi, do you know where the Ghost Lamp Temple is?" Ah Yi was what the residents of Jiangnan region, J City and the surrounding area like to call grandfathers and elders of that age. Nowadays not many people know of that place, it's from over 60 years ago. Most of those who know of it has entered a coffin, which is why most of you younglings don't know of it. Tubo's grandpa brought everybody to the courtyard, and pointed towards a place in the east saying, "Keep going east, and you'll find a forest around 700 meters in. After you enter it, you will find a large tomb, that is where Ghost Lamp Temple originally was." Old tomb. Ghost Lamp Temple is a tomb. Shu Heng unconsciously asked a silly question. Ghost Lamp Temple has been destroyed. Soft Feather's eyes widened as she caught the main gist. Indeed. More than 60 years ago, it was bulldozed by some guy who constructed a giant tomb for himself. Tubo's grandpa replied. So it was something that happened 60 years ago. At that time, not even televisions were widespread yet. It wasn't like the current internet age where any tiny matter could be blown so out of proportion that everyone has heard of it. Which is why there was simply no news regarding Ghost Lamp Temple. Only some of the elderly living in the local area knew what happened that year, so there weren't many young people who knew about it. But, as far as I know, Ghost Lamp Temple is private property, isn't it? Many years ago, didn't someone already purchase it? Soft Feather raised a doubt. You know quite a lot, little lady. Tubo's grandpa reminisced, in reality. At that time Ghost Lamp Temple's land belonged to Trickster Huang, also known as Tumoner Huang Dagon. More than 60 years ago, he sold that Ghost Lamp Temple to a foreigner. But even before he sold it, he had already prepared to convert the ghost lamp temple into a tomb. It just so happened that this foreigner came and offered to buy the temple. Therefore, Huang Dagan took advantage of this and sold the ghost lamp temple to him. However, several years later, when he saw that the foreigner never returned again, he had no qualms about building his own tomb on top of the ghost lamp temple. "So shameless," said Song Shuhang. Tubo's grandpa sighed, then said, "The fella trickster Huang is indeed shameless. The number of foreigners who were cheated by him in those years were many. There's nothing that can be done about it, those foreigners were all silly and rich." Song Shuhang quietly glanced at Soft Feather. He was guessing that the one who bought Ghost Lamp Temple was very possibly Soft Feather's elder. However, there wasn't an expression of anger on Soft Feather's face. There was only a sigh, and she said, "Then, that guy named Trickster Huang should already be dead, right?" These words gave people chills. Chapter 20. Spirit Ghost. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Little girl, how do you know of this?" Tubo's grandpa asked curiously. Indeed, since the time that Trickster Huang constructed the tomb, 7 days after he hung up the tombstone, he died. And then, one after another. Within the span of a year, all of the 10+ members of his family were wiped out. Everyone in the district was saying that there was something supernatural about it. They say that Trickster Huang, that bastard, built a huge tomb and doomed his entire family. Because that ghost lamp temple contains ghosts that are about to reach maturity, a discerning person bought the temple and laid down a seal so as to prevent the ghosts and spirits from harming humans. But someone actually destroyed the temple to build a tomb on the land. That's virtually leaping on the earth god's head to cause trouble, i.e. deliberately angering a far greater power. By following the energy of the tombstone, the spirits were able to track down the owner of the tomb and his family members, and consume their life energy. For the entire family to die can be considered fortunate, as long as 9 generations after him are spared, he's lucky. Soft Feather replied. These pieces of information were not considered secrets to ordinary people, so she was able to say them. Tubo's grandpa fell into a long silence. He affixed his gaze on Soft Feather before calling out 2 words, blind superstition. Youngster, believe in science, knowledge is power. Don't learn from those ghostly superstitions. Tubo's grandpa was undeniably a modern-minded old man. Shuhang could not help but laugh out loud. But after he laughed, a chill ran through his heart. Was it really something as simple as just superstition? Could there really be such a coincidence? Soft Feather's face instantly turned red from embarrassment. Sometimes she was really thin-skinned. It was a good thing that Tubo's grandpa didn't nitpick too much about this topic. He was a very conversational old man and possessed all kinds of knowledge from all around the world. Shuhang and Soft Feather rested at Tubo's grandpa's home until 9 o'clock that night, both hosts and the guests thoroughly enjoying themselves. After borrowing a bike from Tubo, Shuhang and Soft Feather returned to the hotel. Rest early. Shuhang felt that after everything that had transpired in this day, both his body and mind were exhausted. After bidding Soft Feather goodbye, he entered his room to rest. Soft Feather sweetly smiled and waved. "Senior, wake up. Wake up." In the midst of his dreams, Shuhang felt as though his chest was being rather suffocated, before a small, icy hand patted his face. "Ow. Let me sleep a bit more. I'm sleepy." Song Shuhang waved his hand vigorously, swatting away the thing on his face. "Senior, wake up now. It's almost time." Those 2 dainty hands rubbed his face strenuously. The hands were icy cold, and very comfortable as they pressed against his face. Shuhang, who had been sleeping soundly, had no choice but to blearily open his eyes. Then, he realized that there was an unsurpassed beauty sitting on his chest in a very sexual manner. Big breasts, long slender legs, black long hair that reached her waist, the soft sensation of a tight ass pressed against his chest. It was Soft Feather. The proverb goes, what you think about during the day, you will dream about at night. During the day, he had spent all his time with this beauty, Soft Feather, so it wasn't strange at all that he would dream about her at night in such shady scenarios. Hence, Song Shuheng smiled stupidly before falling asleep again. Senior, wake up. Soft Feather pinched Shuheng's cheeks with both hands, rubbing them with force. Damn it, this isn't a dream. In the middle of the night, Soft Feather had crawled into his bed. More importantly, only he possessed his room key. How had Soft Feather entered the room? This was the 20th floor. He glanced at the time. It was 11 o'clock and approaching midnight. Girl, feeling your way into my bed in the middle of the night, this could very easily mislead people. What's up? Song Shuheng tried his hardest to calm his demeanor and asked. Let's go to the Ghost Lamp Temple, Soft Feather replied. Midnight is when it's easiest to find ghosts. What? Ghosts? Girl, you've traveled thousands of miles to J City just to catch those random ghosts. What kind of crap is this? Be calm. He had thought that Soft Feather wanted to find the Ghost Lamp Temple because of some important thing. He had never even imagined that someone could use catching ghosts as an excuse to rush thousands of miles to reach J City. With this super beauty Soft Feather sitting on top of him, he had long since experienced a reaction. Was this girl unafraid that his predatory instincts would take over him? Maybe Soft Feather was really not afraid. With her firepower, she was able to massacre 5 drunkards with a single whip of her leg. If Song Shuheng gave in to his predatory nature, that would surely result in a tragedy. Using a single palm, Soft Feather leapt off his body with a flawless mid-air tumble. She landed lightly beside his bed without making even the slightest sound. Shuheng sat up helplessly. He changed his clothes in the washroom and wiped his face to freshen up. At any rate, he had already accompanied her to J City. Right now, he might as well sacrifice his life to escort his lord, escort her throughout her insanity. Shall we ride the bike? Shuheng asked. Yes. Soft Feather nodded as she pulled her huge suitcase along. Song Shuheng said, then, won't bringing such a large suitcase with you be a problem? With a wave of her dainty hand, Soft Feather raised the suitcase and put it on top of her head as if it was as light as a feather. It'll be no problem at all, it doesn't take up any space. Song Shuheng felt his knees growing rather weak. Luckily he hadn't given in to his predatory instincts. Otherwise, tomorrow, perhaps the man called Song Shuheng would be nothing but a corpse encased in a horse-skin body bag. The roars of the bike disturbed the dreams of others in this late night. Song Shuheng resolutely accelerated, speedily leaving the hotel district. Following the direction Tubo's grandpa pointed towards, the pair quickly found that forest. It wasn't hard to find at all, but because this was a tomb, it was also the reason why nobody knew that this was where Ghost Lamp Temple was. The bike couldn't go on further ahead, and further progress had to be made on foot. Do you need my help? Shuheng asked. Please be at ease, Senior, a mere spirit ghost can't harm me. I can deal with them very quickly. Senior, you just need to keep a lookout for a while. Soft Feather happily laughed. While they spoke, the two had arrived where Huang Dagan and family were buried. The huge chair-shaped tomb was a design that was very popular 60 years ago. It was unknown whether Huang Dagan had known his whole family was going to die that year, for the constructed tomb was huge, and just enough to fit in the family's 4 generations. There were 14 people that were buried here. As it was late night, the cemetery seemed a little eerie. Song Shuheng couldn't help but hug onto his coat, and recited in his heart, it can't be that we will really meet ghosts, right? On the other hand, Soft Feather had already begun taking action. The huge suitcase of hers opened, and there was a layer of light radiating from it. Song Shuheng could see layers of jade sheets, there was over 100 of them. There was also a purplish gold bell, which seemed like copper yet wasn't copper, and seemed like gold yet wasn't gold. but it gave off a feeling like it was very expensive. Phew! Soft Feather lightly released a breath, her head full of black hair swayed without any nearby wind, looking brave and heroic. Afterwards, Soft Feather began taking out some silver metal rods, one after another, surrounding the entire whole tomb. These silver rods also seemed extremely expensive. Then, she took out a stack of talisman paper that was bound together with a cord, and wrapped them over a whole circle of the silver metal rods. But she still wasn't done. She took out various types of powder and liquor and put it by the side of the tomb. It was unknown what the powder actually was, while the liquor had a dull light to it, appearing to be something good. Song Shuhang found a clean stone to sit on, and watched Soft Feather working by the side of the tomb. Unwittingly, sleepiness filled him, and he felt his vision turn hazy. An unknown amount of time later. When Song Shuhang once again opened his eyes in a daze, he saw Soft Feather gracefully dancing at the tomb. Dancing at a tomb late at night, this lady's hobby is truly special. Ha! Beside the lady, there seemed to be two green lights flickering, like it was accompanying Soft Feather in the dance. It looked very nice. The only pity was that this place wasn't beautiful. The tomb made this aesthetically beautiful scene seem weird. For such a beautiful scene, it should be recorded and kept. Shuhang slipped his hand into his pocket to take out his phone. It must be said that Song Shuhang was truly daring. If ordinary people saw this scene, their first reaction should be fright and pee. Yet this guy instead wanted to record this scene. As he was still in a dazed state, his stiff fingers carelessly let the phone fall out of his pocket, and onto the floor. The light from his cell phone's display vaguely illuminated something strange by his feet.